Good afternoon, good evening, good morning if you're overseas, but you still have your mind on what's most important. And that's going to be becoming the best version of yourself. So, of course, we have the type of guest, we bring you the type of guest that's going to make that happen. Today, I have a very special guest, and she's going to speak with you about clarity, courage, and confidence, and consistency. You know how we feel about that. To all of you future millionaires out there, we have Dr. Wieme with us today. She is a highly rated motivational speaker with 15 plus years of public speaking experiences, as well as 6+ years executing business strategy, coaching, and consulting. LaChelle works with individuals, groups, and organizations to expedite their impact and income through high-level sustainable change by optimizing clarity, courage, confidence, and consistency. LaChelle is the founder and host of the Spiral Up podcast, as well as founder and CEO of I Am, Life by Design, business consulting firm. Welcome to the show today, LaChelle.
Hey, thank you so much, Rashad, for having me. I'm so excited for our conversation.
I am as well. You speak directly to anyone that's tuned into this. I like to figure out if someone is listening to a podcast or watching a show and you can directly touch them within the first, 5 minutes. I think that after researching what you have to offer, you started. I want everyone to know out there that you started. Your name is Doctor. You're Doctor for a reason. It's because I'm going to let you tell the story, where you come from, and how it happened to.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is so fun. So I'm just going to start out by saying that fine is my least favorite 4-letter F word. Okay. And I think that even though I thought that I was living my dream life, I was a nurse anesthetist at one of the best hospitals in the world. I was a professor for a doctor of nurse anesthesia program, living my dream life, like the nerdy, like 2 kids, a boy and a girl, a dog, the house, the husband, the whole thing, right? But there was still something inside of me that I knew something was missing and things were fine, right? But then what happened was I discovered entrepreneurship. I started my first online business, and holy cow, it's like my world went from black and white to color, Rashad. Like that's the best way for me to describe it, because it was the moment where I realized that I had been settling. I literally thought that I had to just stay on course with what I had always planned to do, and that's what good girls do. And you just go to college, you get a good job, you stay in that job, you climb that ladder, you retire, and hopefully you're, live off this happy rest of your life.
Right.
And I decided that I was not okay with fine anymore. I decided that, man, there's this and life that's out there. What that meant to me was I no longer had to choose between being challenged and fulfilled and seeing what I'm capable of, or being a present mom and wife, or traveling the world, or doing all the things that I wanted to do to make the impact, right? I discovered that I can create the and life. I can do all those things and travel the world and be a present mom and wife and make the impact and difference that I want to make. And it just lit my soul on fire. And I started on that trajectory, but I got to be honest with you, I faced my fair share of butts. And I like joke around, like, I mean, I'm a big fan of like 90s hip hop. And so I'm gonna bust out a little sort of mix a lot here, but it's like I had big butts and I can't lie.
Right.
And it was like the butts were, I would love to do that, but I would love to quit my job, but I would talk to that person, but I would be more successful by now, but. And I realized that I had a lot of damn butts and they were getting in my way. And I realized that the people that I was leading were also experiencing their fair share of butts, and I cannot lie. And the other brothers can't deny, right? And so it's like, holy cow, there's something to this. And all of us had this inside fire that we were ready to do more. We were ready to prove to ourselves what we were capable of. We were ready to make a bigger difference. But we were allowing things like fear and confusion and doubt and inconsistency and all of the overwhelm, all the things that can hold us back from actually seeing what's possible. And I'm like, all right, now I got to just like figure out how to bust these butts out of my way. And now I'm helping other people do the same.
There it is. There it is. And that's God-given talent. Not only is it God-given talent, it's also I guess what we refer to as a ministry, pretty much.
Mhm.
Like when you start teaching someone what you know, that's basically, what you were put here to do. And then it brings a smile to
Yeah,
your face at the end of the day.
totally. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
that's so different than and we all were given, I believe, the same
Yeah.
script. Go go to school, get a
Yeah.
job, you know, you do even better if you go to school for longer.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, it's not necessarily what keeps that smile on your face.
100%, right? And it's like we settle for fine all the time. Like, oh, my marriage is fine, my job's fine. I can get through. I had one colleague, love her dearly, but every single day at work, she would tell us where she was in her countdown. 2 years, 4 months, 5 days, and 6 hours till I get to retire. Bless her heart, right? Like, I don't want to live like that.
That's
And so
almost
I
like the
was like,
penitentiary, right?
right, right. And it's like, oh my gosh, why would we subject ourselves to that? And so I'm a big fan of being grateful for where you are. It doesn't mean that I have to be discontented where I am. I can be grateful for where I am and how far I've come and what I have, and be excited for what's to come. Right. And it's like, it's crazy. Just before we started recording, I had a meeting with our accountant, my husband and I. It's like, it's crazy, Rashad. I left my full-time career in 2022, September of 2022. Had a great job, loved my job, loved everything, but it was not my calling, right? I knew that I wanted to get people through more than just a surgery. I wanted to impact the rest of their life. And it's just like, okay, let's go, let's do this. And it's crazy because I was scared. I was so scared. I was a breadwinner for my family. It was something that it was like, I can do it when or but, right? And finally I just got courageous and I'm like, all right, let's freaking figure this out. And I left my full-time career and it's so crazy. This tax meeting, I'm like, I am making almost twice as much money as I did when I was living my safe, content, like golden handcuffs life. And I was like, what are the things that if I can say anything to your audience, is if you're willing to trust God and you're willing to just let him lead you with the desires that he's planted in your heart, he can take you places beyond anything you could have planned for. I had everything all mapped out, guys, but he had better in store for me. And you just have to be able to recognize that little kindling of desire that he's placed in your heart, and you lean into it instead of trying to drown it out with activities or booze or ignoring it or whatever. Like, lean into it, explore it, get curious about it, see what it's about. And then the things that I've noticed that help people become successful, it's kind of cool actually, because I find themes wherever I go. And one of the themes that I've noticed over and over again is that successful people recognize the desire and they lean into it. They don't ignore it. They lean into it with curiosity. Then they make the decision. And this is not just like a wishy-washy, like, I hope this works. I'll try. It's like a freaking commitment. It's a declaration. It's like, I'm going to figure this out come hell or high waters. I'm going to learn what I have to learn. I'm going to meet who I have to meet. I'm going to figure it out. And once you do that, once you make that decision, it moves mountains, because all of a sudden things will start to fall into place. But so often people get stuck in indecision. They get stuck in confusion. They get stuck in not trusting themselves. They get stuck in not trusting God. They don't have the confidence, the belief in themselves. And so they stay in this space. And it's so freaking cool. I watched it time and time again. You make the decision, you're like, all right, I'm done, enough. And all of a sudden it's like everything starts to come together. And then the last thing that I've seen successful people do is they get into action. if you guys are watching this interview, I have a lot of books behind me. I've read every one of them. And the difference between people who talk about it and people who make it happen is that we execute. We learn something, then we put it into practice. We do what we said we were going to do. And so you can sit around and you can wish upon a star. You can hope that that happens. You can be envious of somebody else's life on social media, or you can recognize that desire. You can freaking decide to do something about it. And then you get into action and watch everything fall into place. But definitely there's buts along the way, guys. And I totally get it. Like I have them too. And that's what the whole point of my Spiral Up program is that what's interesting is that as we elevate, I call it Spiral Up because I'm a nerd when it comes to all things quantum physics and brain science and scripture. And so I want you to envision like spiraling up to the next level of who you are and who you can become. And it's so often that as entrepreneurs, we spiral down. We get caught up in comparison. We get caught up in imposter syndrome. We get caught in overwhelm, confusion, and we spiral down. And I want to help create a massive forward momentum, success in motion. And what happens though is that people level up, they spiral up, and sometimes we bump up against what I call old bruises. It might be like, okay, I had this imposter syndrome. I was able to get courageous and start my business. And now I'm ready to raise my prices. And oop, there's that bruise again. Like there's that imposter syndrome again. It's bound to happen. That's part of the resiliency. But what you'd get to is recognize like, hey, I see this. I recognize you. I don't accept you. I have more tools than I had the last time I saw you. Next. And you were able to get past that block, past that bruise faster and more efficiently and more effectively than you did the last time because of who you've been as you've been spiraling up. So for you to think that it is always going to be sunshine and roses, or it's you're going to get past something, then it's going to be gone, and you never have to deal with it again, is setting yourself up for some disappointment. But you can acknowledge that you can empower yourself to use everything that you've learned up to this point to bust through it beyond anything that you've ever thought you were capable of before.
That's powerful. That is very powerful. I like Spiral Up. I totally get it. It's when I seen that was the name of your program, I thought about Sierra, Level Up.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
So she speaks on, basically the same thing. It's
Yep.
Recognize it and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all a part of the game. It's just all a part of the game, and the biggest part of the game is in your mindset.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
That is
100%.
what we're really big about on this podcast, is just mindset, from mindset to momentum. And
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of people, like, this is one of the things that I find in people that take my courses and are, part of my program, is that they've tried strategy and they haven't worked. They've paid for coaching, they've paid for programs, they've been following their upline and direct sales, they've been doing all the things, and they're not getting the results they want. And they're like, well, maybe I'll just look for another program that's going to promise me X, and I'm just going to execute this. But if you don't fix the buts that have been following you along this whole way, you're not going to be able to get a new strategy to work. You're going to find the same roadblocks are going to get in the way every single time. And so that's one of the things that's so freaking fun for me, is that I get to help people with strategy, but more importantly, before they get started with some of it, it's the baseline understanding of how do I get super back in my power, right? That's one of the things that I want all of you guys to listen to too, is that your circumstances are not beyond or outside of you. They're within you. Your results right now are a reaction to your self as first cause. Your choices, your results are from your feelings and your thought process. So if you're not seeing the results that you want, guess what? You get to choose again. You get to execute your free will, which is the most amazing superpower that all of us have been given. Every single day, you get to choose again. You get to choose to be a victim or a victor. And I promise you that if you choose to be a victor, it's going to take you to where you want to go. And then I help people get really, really confident on reprogramming their mind, reprogramming the blocks, reprogramming the things that have consistently held them back. And sometimes those things are even held inside of our body. It's really crazy. We can have energy blocks inside of our body, but most of the time it's subconscious beliefs that we have holding us back. Then I help people get really connected. The thing is that people have all the answers. You guys have all the answers inside of you already. All of us have this amazing connection to our higher power at any time. And I ask him questions all day long, all day long. And my body, because of the way that I've learned how to use this, I can literally answer things in yes or no ways that is divinely inspired by my higher power. You do not have to stay stuck in confusion. It can be easy. And then I help people get super, super clear because you have all these other tools. You have the confidence to trust yourself. You have the tools to get your own inner guidance going. And then you can start having some clarity. What do I want out of my life? What do I want out of my business? Who am I serving? How am I helping them? Getting all those things down so that way you can conquer it. You can start getting your automation. You can start getting your delegation. You can get systems and an organization in place so that you can make it easy. It doesn't have to be freaking hard. And so it's like, it's all stems from the mindset though, guys. It all stems from the mindset. I can tell you exactly how to set up an avatar so that you can market to the right people. But if you don't believe that you are worthy of having that client, then you're not going to be able to serve that client. One of my clients right now is a realtor. She was nervous. She was afraid to serve higher level clients, but she knew that she wanted to make more money. So we went from her normal client base was about $200,000 in a house they bought. She's now serving $600,000 plus because her mindset shifted. She tripled her income just by proving to herself that she was capable and worthy of that type of a client. Do not underestimate the power of your mind, friend. Do not underestimate the power of your mind.
That is correct. I would like to know, I would like to know, LaChelle.
Yeah.
When dealing with these people, and
Yeah.
remember, I deal with them as well. So
Yeah.
because let's say older millennials, Generation X,
Yeah.
and now you have the baby boomers who may not know this new age stuff.
Yeah.
Any of it, the mindset, the computer technology, anything. How much of your job entails selling the fact that you have to come on board first? You have to, even during our, it's funny because during our conversation right now,
Yeah.
we've mentioned penitentiary, what you said, golden handcuffs. So it's almost like, the job, that's when you were mentioning just countdown to retirement. That's how most people's minds are set. So how much time do you spend selling, or let's say breaking people out of this proverbial jailhouse?
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so here's the deal. My accountant just asked me this tonight. So such a great question, right? He's like, so you're telling me that if I have a client that wants to start an online business and they're lost, you could help them. And I said to him, it depends. Do they want to be found? You following me? It's like, if you're not willing to do what it takes, if you're not willing to learn what needs to be learned, if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone, then you're not my client.
Exactly.
And it's okay for us to, I have program offers that can help people at different levels. But one of the things that I've found is that I want to work with people who are willing to figure it out. I work with victors. And it's like, I gotta be honest with you, like one of my favorite people in the whole wide world is my client. She's 67 years old. And I love her so much that I actually hired her to be one of my coaches as she works for me now. She's 67. There are no freaking excuses if you decide that there are no excuses. Right? And so that's what I want to say is like the power of your mind, the power of your decision. I get to choose. Am I going to allow for technology or things like that to hold me back? If I really want this life, then there are some things that I get to just decide, like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna learn this. The other thing though that I want to just point out, because it's such a great topic, Rashad, is that it doesn't always have to be hard. So I'm gonna like point out, like, I have this easy button on my desk. And I ask my clients a lot, I'm like, well, what if it was easy, what would you do? Because it gets so complicated sometimes. It's like, oh my gosh, like, if it was easy, what would you do? Oh, well, I would do this. Like, okay, awesome. So when I think about my client that is amazing, she's an amazing coach. She hated business building. She hated it. But she's an amazing coach. And out of the blue, I just felt led to be like, you know what? I think you'd be a really great coach in my program. And all of a sudden, like, she's like, huh, I get to do what I love and I don't have to build a business. Yep. Because shit just works out for you. Like, I actually gave my last retreat participants a bracelet that has like those initials on it. Like, shit just works out for me. So if you can go into it just being like, yep, I'm willing to take the steps, but I also trust that shit just works out for me, that it doesn't have to be hard. It can be easy. And watch what happens when you raise your vibration to a place where all of a sudden the right people, the right situations, the right ideas, the right level of support will come into your sphere of influence without any extra effort. Do you notice that too, Rashad? Like, do you subscribe to that belief?
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah.
Very much so. What you just said, I'm gonna have that, repeat that one more time. The shit, starting with shit.
Oh yeah.
Shit just works out.
Shit just works out for me.
So that quote, without the shit part, that's what my father told me anytime I faced hardship growing up. Everything will work itself out.
Yeah.
That was his go-to for me.
100%.
So I subscribed to that since I was a child, teenager.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I subscribe to it, but there's nothing that's not going to happen for me because I already have it in my mind.
You believe it. And that's the thing when you think about, I utilize a lot of quantum physics in what I teach. And that's how I can help people get faster, easier results, because it's almost like, have you ever seen the movie Finding Nemo? It's an old one, but have you ever seen it?
No, definitely.
Okay.
Love
so there's
it.
this really cool scene in the movie where Marlin and Dory are swimming through the ocean and they're looking for Nemo, right? And they just keep swimming, and they come across Crush the Turtle, I mean.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey dudes, like, all you need to do is get into the EAC. And literally, like, they were able to go into this current that shot them straight into Sydney. Like, that's what quantum physics can do to your business, guys. It's literally just you getting yourself into the EAC. It's no more just keep swimming. It's literally you swam, and now you're accepting it, and now you're getting into the current, and it'll take you where you want to go. And that starts with the mindset. That starts with the belief. That starts with this knowing, with expectation and thanksgiving that is all going to work its way out. I will give you a fun example of this. I'm kind of embarrassed about it, but I'm just going to share it with you guys anyway. So I just got back from Costa Rica. I host international business retreats, and we just had one in Costa Rica. And one of the things that I offered was for people to come a day early if they chose to. And we decided to go on an excursion. And so we went ziplining for those that wanted to come. And one of the things that we did during that excursion was jumping off a cliff into a really deep, like 30-foot, like cavern of water, right? The guys that work there are like, hey, make sure that you take off your watches, your phone, like jewelry, anything that's important to you, because if you lose it in this, you will never find it again. It's deep and the bottom is black, and like, so the water's clear, but the bottom is black. You're never going to find anything. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but I wanted the people that I was with to shoot a video of the other people jumping off the cliff because it was right next to this beautiful waterfall. I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be so amazing. Here, use my phone. And I tossed it to her, and it was in a waterproof case, but I tossed it to her like, what the heck was I thinking? And she freaking missed it, because it's not her fault. It was mine for tossing it. What was I thinking? I think I did it because I was supposed to be able to tell this story, but my phone like literally dropped to the bottom of this water. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well,
Okay.
shit just works out for me. Like, I'm not going to get myself down this like spiral down. I'm like, all right, I'll just have other people take pictures. I'll call my kids from the iPad back at the house. I have insurance. It's going to be fine. It was like this surrender to the outcome, but I still had this like inner knowing that shit just works out for me. Right.
Yeah.
So I decided to jump off the cliff one more time. And while I was down there, I was like, you know what? I'm just curious. Like, I'm stubborn enough. I'm just curious that if I go to where I toss this, if I can see it. Like, impossible, right? And sure enough, my phone had landed with the gold cover up. If it had landed the other way, I would never have seen it.
Right.
I saw the reflection of my phone. A couple of other tourists were like, hey, what are you looking at? I'm like, there's my phone. They're like, oh, well, let me see if I can get it. Sure enough, dove down there, picked it back up. The people that work there, they have never, ever, ever, ever seen anything like that.
Yep.
You have to stay in a high vibration, even when stuff's hitting the fan.
Yep.
Because that's how you are going to be able to attract the people, the ideas, the amazing clients that you want, when you can just be like, okay, I have this knowing that it's going to work out, and I surrender to the experience, but I still have to take inspired action. I still have to do something.
Right.
Right. So I still went in and looked for it. And but my mindset, my energy, my being was of, it's going to be okay regardless.
Yep.
And I think that's how people need to go into their business and the sales. Like, you just have to expect that it's going to work out. You're going to expect that you are going to be the millionaire that you aspire to be. You're just going to expect it.
Right.
But that particular person or that particular course that you're trying to sell or that particular something might not be the thing, but you're still expecting that it's going to work out. So you're like, I'm not tied to any one route. I've surrendered the how. I'm taking inspired action for what feels right. And I just know that it's going to work out. And guess what happens? It will. Because the right things, the right people, the right ideas will pop into your head. I was in that space last summer, actually. I had already quit my job. Things were going well, but I kind of got a little stuck. I was like, okay, well, I can do a lot of things, but should I do a lot of things? Do I need to do a lot of things? What do I love to do? Like, what sets me apart? Like, I really was struggling with that. And I was praying about it. And I was like, literally realigning myself with the frequency of the problem, like analyzing the heck out of it from every single angle. And I went on a dream vacation with my family. We took 2 weeks. We drove out to Utah, went to all the national parks. It was unbelievable, seeing some of the most beautiful places in the world with the people I love the most on the planet. Guess what happened? The idea for Spiral Up popped into my head like an instant download that came out of nowhere. Because I wasn't realigned with the problems frequency anymore. I was in this living my bliss. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I was at the frequency alignment of what I was supposed to do. And it just came to me. And so just chill out a little bit. Take inspired action. Know in your heart, just like Rashad said, like, it's going to work out. And you take the next aligned step and the next aligned step. And guess what will happen? It will work its way out.
Yeah. I don't know many Bible verses, but I can tell you my favorite one.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's a verse. I just know it's in there.
Yeah.
And what it means.
Yeah.
And it says, be still. And that part right there means so much to me because it's the basis of what you just said. You have an idea. You can't overcome the anxiety. You can't overcome the overthinking. Just be still.
Be still.
Do what you was already doing.
Yeah.
Go listen to some music. Play it down. Go fishing. Whatever it is that you would normally be doing, you have the idea. You just need it to come to fruition or to rise to the top, to bubble to the top. And you come up with something like the name of your business or the name of your program.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing that I love about that verse is that the second half of that is be still and know that I am God.
There it is. Thank you.
And it's like, because I have that verse like above my bed. So I'm like, I cheated a little bit. Right. but like, if you can acknowledge, you guys, like those of you who are in the, in the believer space, if you can acknowledge that if God put this desire on your heart for this business, and I want you to think about it for a second, the impact that you will make when the money comes into the hands of the good guys. What kind of ripple effect can you make because of this? When God puts a desire on your heart is for the betterment of all humanity. And I promise you that if that's who you're trying to be, he wants you to be that too, because you're helping all of his children, right? So once you know that he has that desire that he's planned on your heart, he's your freaking business partner. He's the one that once you decide to partner with him, he's the one that takes you to the EAC. These universal laws that I've talked about are designed by God who created the universe. So get into his EAC by just submitting that he's your business partner. He's going to work this shit out for you. So be still and know that the thing that created this entire universe is your partner in this. Know that he is in charge, that he is God, that he is powerful, that he can bring things to you in an instant. Be still and know that I am God. Let him do your heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And to watch what happens.
That's it. It's lean to, as you said earlier. LaChelle, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad you could bring I'm glad you could bring the rest of that that verse around. And I should know that. That's a shame that I
No, it's
don't.
all good, man. We don't want to take any guilt into the vibrational frequency, right? It's all
Right,
good.
right.
Playful, have fun.
So let's get into the course. Tell us a little bit about your course and how people can get started in A to Z.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I love doing a diagnostic call with people. What that means is that I want to see what you got going on under the hood before I recommend something, because I give customized experiences. Now, yes, all my things have a foundation of choice, choice, confidence, clarity, courage, consistency, and conquering. Like all of them have that, but I am able to give you a customized approach. And so I would love to get a chance to meet you. I'd love to get a chance to see what you got going on, what your BUTS are, what your goals are, and maybe because of that conversation, I can tell you what you've been missing in your current strategy. Because many of you guys, especially if you're wanting to be a millionaire, right? Like you're busting it, man. You've tried stuff. You're not maybe seeing the results as fast as you wanted. Maybe you've plateaued a little bit. I want to see what you've been doing, and then I can see what you've been missing. And that's freaking powerful. So I'll make sure that you have all that information, Rashid, so that people can book that. And then I have a couple of different options. It's kind of like a walk, jog, run kind of thing, depending on if you want to do it at your own pace, whether you want a little bit of support from the group and myself, or whether you want some one-on-one time with me. So yeah.
That is, I will definitely put the links. I'll have the links and the website in the comments on the YouTube and on the podcast so they can get in touch with you. Also, if you guys go to her website, the name of the website is IAM-lifebydesign.com.
Yeah.
Correct?
That's right. I am -lifebydesign.com. I also have LaChelleWieme.com that goes there as well.
Okay.
But it's easy, like, because I want to keep everything really simple for some people, but I am. And I'm just going to say this real quick because I think your audience and you might find this powerful, but I am is the inspiration for my business, because when you believe that it's possible for you, when you take on that identity of the future version of yourself that's already figured it out and is successful, it will allow you to start making decisions and taking actions that is consistent with that version, right? And if I said, I am worthy, it doesn't have the same feeling as, listen to the differences here, right? I am worthy, or I am worthy. I am is a state of being, right? That's what I want for you guys. I want you to be who you are meant to be. And then life by design is like, shit, it doesn't have to be hard. Like you should not have to be hustling for the sake of hustling just to make ends meet. Like let's freaking create a life that you love with all of the pieces that come together. So yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute. So wanted to say something to follow up on that, to add to that.
Yeah.
There is a rapper. He's very successful now. I followed him from the time he started. And in the middle of his rap career, he had a CD that came out and it was called I Am. And that's it. And I Am was plastered all over the CD cover. I didn't understand the concept of that then.
Yeah.
And he's like the most successful, not most successful, but he's a really, really successful rapper now. His name is Yo Gotti, and he's really big at this point. But it goes to show, I start learning what I am means, what it means to the subconscious, and why you should utilize it. And it's basically the most two important words that's put together in the human language if you utilize it correctly.
100%.
Yes, LaChelle, I want to thank you for pointing that out. I make a lot of I love rap music. I make a lot of correlations in the rap. So,
yeah, I love it.
Okay, so
whoever thought that this middle-aged mom would start pulling out some Baby Got Back for you then?
yeah, I love that. That was perfect. That was right on point. So another thing before you go, I am subscribing to your podcast. Can you shout out your podcast really quick?
Yeah, it's called the Spiral Up Podcast, and it's all about spiraling up and creating massive forward momentum in your business and your life.
Awesome. You're the first person who I really sat there and kind of watched the podcast. I do a podcast, but I interview people. Yeah. I haven't really seen anyone have a one-person podcast to where they really can get their thoughts, just get their thoughts out. I haven't tried it yet, but after watching yours, I'm going to give it a try.
Just do it. I did a podcast for 3.5 years that was primarily interviews, man. So I get it. But it takes a lot of planning and courage, but people want to hear from you, brother. So I'm gonna send you all of those positive vibes that you can do it.
All righty. All right. Thank you for coming on today, LaChelle. This was an awesome interview. I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to what you were doing. I'm going to send everyone that I know that needs this your way.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a great night. Goodbye.